morning everybody, this is Annie. If you're new to my channel, my name is Annika and welcome to my channel. If you like my videos, please subscribe and thumbs up and leave me a comment down below if you have any questions about my topics or my episodes. So let's get right into it. Today's episode will be about compare Hungary versus the United States, New York, where we live, and how life is, how prices, and different topics. I will go right into it. So I have my paper because I do not want to miss on anything which I think it would be important for today's episodes. That's why. So first of all, let's just start right here because I know how people get, not everybody, but some people just always think that the grass is greener at the neighbors, and which is true and not true. So just to get some perspective, I'm going to tell you that I live in here for 8 years now, and it took me 2 years to get my green card, and 8 years. Hopefully this year soon I can become a citizen. So that's just for you to get some perspective, not to feel bad for me. I'm doing just fine, just for some perspective. And if you have questions about that, I would love to answer. So let's speak about, whenever I go home to Hungary, everybody's curious about prices, and what people try to do, they always just try to compare prices, and I just shoot them down right there, and I just tell them, no, you just can't do that, because you want to compare prices while you live in Hungary. You don't compare prices when you live in the States. So, but just because I know people are curious about prices, start with prices so you will understand better. So let's just start, for example, eggs. Let's speak about 12 eggs, a dozen eggs. A dozen eggs at home, if you have chickens, you don't even have to pay for eggs. But if you have to go to the store and buy the eggs, then you will have to pay around like $1–2. Here, for organic eggs, you pay $3.50 and up. For bread, one loaf of bread at home would cost you $1.50, and here it would be organic ones $5. At home I know we use forint, but just to make it easier to understand, I just converted everything to US dollars, so it's easier to compare. So let's get right back to the prices. For milk, one carton of milk would cost you $1.50, and here it starts from $3 and up. Gas, at home they use liter for measure. Right now I don't exactly know how many liters in 1 gallon. If you have to ask, if I have to guess, I would say 3. I did not look that up, but 1 liter of gas would be $2.50, and here it would be a gallon for $3. Let's compare the rent. For rent, at home and here is the same. You know, the rent depends on how big of the city you are renting, or you rent on countryside. Like if you want to rent in the capital of Budapest, it's going to be higher than in a large city, and it's the same here. If you want to rent in New York City or countryside, there is a big difference between the prices. For example, and also what you get, for example, what you get for the same price. Here you get a way bigger place, an apartment, than in the city for way less. I would say in the city it can cost you up to like $4,000 for rent, or even more. By here, around $1,000 you can rent a house, and at home I would say around $300 you would have to pay for rent in a bigger city to rent an apartment. Most people don't really worry about rent. If you know, obviously if you own a house, then you don't have to pay rent, you pay the mortgage. But if that's not the case, then you have to worry about rent, and that's going to be a big part of your paycheck. And when we speak about the paycheck, let's get right into the minimum wage. The minimum wage right now at home, I do believe my mom makes minimum wage, and she's not even making $300 a month. She gets paid monthly, not weekly. Here you can get paid weekly, bi-weekly. but at home it's monthly. And here, let's just say the minimum wage right now, it's $9.70 for an hour. So if you have a full-time job, meaning every week you're working 40 hours, at least 40 hours, and you get minimum wage, and you get paid, I would say, around $1,500. I'm rounding up these numbers because just because, but most people don't really understand, especially if you leave home. Just because you see a number, for example, for minimum wage, that doesn't mean that's what you're going to get at the end of your paycheck, because you have to pay taxes and you have to pay right into your retirement for Social Security, so, and for health insurance. So these numbers going to come down of that paycheck. So what you're actually going to get, it won't be 1,500, it would be like 1,300, let's just say that. But I'm rounding up these numbers, and if you have more questions, just feel free to ask. I would be glad to answer. So if I mention health insurance at home, when you have a job, you don't have to worry about it, because your job will pay into your health insurance. And you go to a hospital, you don't have to pay. You will go to a dentist, you don't have to pay, unless you choose private doctors. Then of course it comes out of your pocket, but other way, it's not. Most people don't really worry about health insurance at home. Meanwhile, here, first of all, for a long time, not every people had health insurance. Now, when you have health insurance prices, we are talking about $1,000 and up, and health insurance prices, basic health insurance, dental insurance, vision. These are extra costs, and it doesn't mean when you have health insurance, it does not mean when you go to a doctor you don't have to pay. You do have to pay. For example, giving birth, I had a really great health insurance while I worked at the hospital, and we still had to pay like $1,000 for giving birth. But can you imagine what would I have to pay if I wouldn't even have a great health insurance? I do believe it could have cost like $10,000 or even more. So you don't want to be sick. And also you have to keep that in mind. When, like right now, when I go to a doctor, I still have to pay. And for example, right now I struggle with the dental issues, and they just throwing prices at you, just so you can imagine. A tooth implant would cost you $5,000 here. Meanwhile, at home, even if you pay out of your pocket, I do believe it would be less than $2,000. So these are big numbers just to think about. But let's get right into the next topic, which would be toys, for example. I have my daughter, so of course, like, female always collects something. Trust me, it's always something. Since I have her, I become like a little toy collector for her. And when I go home, I check prices, and it's shocking. Like, for example, she has this frozen Elsa and Anna doll. Here it was like $35 for 2 of those dolls. At home it was $100 for 2 of those dolls, and I'm just like, wow, that's like crazy. But it also helps you not to become like a hoarder for toys, so that's the good side. Now let's move on to electronics. Everybody's always asking me about electronics and prices here, and for example, iPhone. Let's just talk about an iPhone X. iPhone X 64 gigabyte would cost you $1,000 plus tax here. If you don't live here, you don't really like understand like the tax, so that's why I'm trying to explain to you just a little bit more. So when you see a price, and that doesn't mean that's going to be the price. Depend on the category. Like for example, groceries, you will add 2%. For electronics, you will add 8%. For clothes, I'm not sure right now, I have to look that up. But so you see a price, it won't be your price. Your price will be that price plus tax. So just keep that in mind, because at home, when you see a price, tax is included. So even still, iPhone would be $1,000 here plus tax, and the same would be $1,500 at home, I think, or something around that, I believe. So that's those are Those are big differences on that. On clothes, I do believe you get way better quality and nicer brands of clothing than at home for way less. For example, Victoria's Secret. Every girl loves Victoria. I love Victoria's Secret too. So I like to buy the deals when you have here. You can buy 5, or if you hit the jackpot, you can buy 7 panties for $28 plus tax. So let's say $30. Meanwhile, at home, you buy one of those for like $18, I think. And I love the Abercrombie and Fitch store or Hollister store. Here you can, on clearance, you can buy like a t-shirt for $7 to $10, and the same at home would be at least double price, I think. So those are something to think about. Let's get back to basics, like what basics living and you need. For example, you need internet. You need internet. Here for internet, just basic internet, not the fancy type, we have to pay $45 for a month. At home, it would be like $10 for TV. Used to we had cable TV. We canceled that, but we do. I still can watch all the cable TV, but I have to stream. So you need the internet, and I pay for a provider online, so I can use this service for $35. At home for cable TV, you would pay $10. A lot of people smoke, so I was a smoker too. I gave up smoking 7 years ago. I did not smoke a single cigarette for 7 years, nor I have an interest in smoking ever again. Besides of the damaging effect on your body, and for the cancer causing possibility, you know, the price is like ridiculous. Like if you're a heavy smoker, a box of cigarette costs you $10 and up here. The same is $5 at home. But still, just think about that, like, you know, like when you're a heavy smoker and you would smoke a box of cigarette every day, that's going to be $70 at the end of the week. That's just like crazy. And let's talk about beer, for example. A lot of people like to drink beer. Who I know likes to drink Corona. So a 12 pack of Corona would be $16 here. The same would be $24 at home. That could be because of the import, you know, but I did not put down like a Hungarian brand beer. I have to look that up, but still, I do believe like that would be way cheaper here, just to drink beer than at home. So that would be about the prices, which I wanted to share with you. Let's move on to my next topic, which would be, oh, the food. Oh my god, I miss the food so much at home. At home I was never worried about GMO or hormones, or just like, you know, like the ingredients. But here you just have to think twice what you buy. And I do spend a lot of money on groceries, but that's why, because I have to pay so much attention, like what am I buying, you know. Like I came here to the States and worked at the summer camp for 2 summers, and my first summer I was just so sick of the food because it's just so much different than at home. And obviously the food was given. I did not buy the food while I was there. It's different now because now I chose what I eat, you know, so that makes a big difference what you put into your body. But you just have to pay so much attention, you know, like even for the meat, buy local meat, and not to buy like when you buy processed food, you have to like read the labels and just see, like for the milk, not to have like added hormones and things like that. That can be a huge impact on your health. It's really, I do believe what you eat, that's what you become. So that's very important. And just the food at home is just so good. Oh my gosh, like my mom always had, like, you know, her garden, and everything was fresh, coming to season, cherry season, peach season, tomatoes come, fresh onions. I don't have that here. I wish I have that, but I don't. It was just really nice to have. Everything's just fresh, comes from the garden, organic, you know. It was amazing. I wish I could provide that for my daughter, but I do my best. So I miss food at home. Food is great at home. Alright, let's go to my next topic, which would be school system and pets. The first cultural shock was for me seeing inside pets here. I've always had a cat and a dog while I lived at home, but they were outside pets. So for having outside pets, come see here, everybody has inside pets. It was just a little bit scary first because you just think about all the fur they shed, and it's just like you don't really understand, like, where are they going to pee or poop, or what are you doing with them, like how do you train them and how do you clean it up. So it was just like it's like interesting to see for the first time. But then I have friends and they keep their house 100% clean all the time, and they are just so neat. And the animals, you don't even like notice, like, because you don't really see, you sit down and you're not going to see fur or anything like that because they are just like super clean. So then it's really nice when they live with you. They are like become your best friend. They are always there and they're part of the family, and it's interesting to see, you know, just that's like a different word, like inside pets. That's what it is. But if you keep them nicely inside, it's really great. It can be a really great thing. And don't forget that around here the winter is freezing cold. We have coyotes, we have the bear. They wouldn't be safe outside. So that's one of the big part of that too, I believe. All right, let's get right into. I mentioned in one of my previous videos, public transport is great at home. You don't have to worry about how you will get from A to B, you know, because bus would come every 10 minutes. And if you live in a big city like in New York City, obviously I won't need a car. Like I could just hop on the subway or buses and get like a monthly subway ticket or something, and just not to worry about public transport at all. But when that's not the case and you live further from the city, you know, where bus would come twice a day, and you have to like hitchhike the bus, kind of wave to the bus, because it's not like a bus stop where you would at home. There's bus stops everywhere, so you stand in the bus stop, schedule a time, the bus would come, and you would just hop on the bus. Here you wait for the bus would stop for you on the road. You pay little coins, put your little coins in there, if you pay your fee, and you would tell the bus driver, oh, can you just drop me off here or there, and that's how it works. It's definitely weird compared to home. And I'm telling you, trust me, you need a car. Without a car, you just don't exist. Trust me on that. Also, a big difference is getting your driving license here. I got my driving license at home when I was young, like 17 years old. I had to go to a lot of classes, do an exam, go to these classes, like if an accident would happen, what would you do, how would you save a life, and I had to go take driving classes in the city with a certified driver, and it cost so much money, so much time, but I did it, and I had my driving license when I came here to the States. I was using that for a long time, until my husband finally pushed me and he said, you have to get a New York State driving license. And at first it was scary, but then I just did it. I just practiced online for the test, and I passed the test. And then you don't require to take driving lessons with a certified driver. You just have to have somebody next to you who knows how to drive, and you practice, and then you schedule your exam for your driving exam. You go there, you pay your fee, and if you pass, you just get your driving license, and that's about it. It was easy and something nice, even nice to deal with, not like at home. And I'm glad I did it. That was like it's nice to have a driving license here, so I don't have to worry about renewing my old one at home. That was my other topic I wanted to mention. And I wanted to mention, yes, different school systems and mothers. So when you become a mother here, you have so many things you have to like make a decision about. First of all, you have to make a decision about, are you going to stay at home, or are you going back to work? If you decide to stay at home, it means you will lose your job. At home, every mother can stay at home with their kid until they are 3 years old, and their job is guaranteed. Here, you don't have a job if you decide you will stay at home. So that's what I did. I decided to stay at home because I had my firstborn, my only child, and honestly, I just couldn't leave her. She was just so tiny, and I do believe like she needed me, you know. It's like this time won't come back. and most likely I will work for the rest of my life, but that I couldn't bring that time back, which would have been taken away, you know. And also you have to find a daycare, you have to find somebody you trust with like a newborn, which is like, it's a crazy image on like in your head when after your children was just born. But that's how it is here. So obviously I needed to make a decision with my husband, because he's a big part of supporting us, you know, and I could do this and I could stay at home with her, and obviously he's the one who's working. So we made our decision, and you just have to, I will make another video about this, because this would go longer and I could speak so much about this. But the bottom line is, there is a big difference between things you want and things you need. So this is what we wanted to do, and I'm just so glad we did it, because I have all these moments with her, you know, and I was able to see her develop, and every milestones. For me it's huge, because obviously I'm a first-time parent, and it's just really amazing to see. So, but I don't have a job anymore, obviously, so that's a huge difference between home and here, and daycares and preschools. So let's just talk about a little bit about the school system, because at home, so you have the kindergarten for the kids from 3 to 6, then they go to the primary school, and or just call it elementary school. It would be from 6 to 14, and that's where they are. And from 14 they go to high school to 18, and after 18 you can go to college or the university. Meanwhile here, you go to preschool at 4 to 5, you go to kindergarten. After kindergarten, after 6, you will go to, I think it's just like a primary school, and then there is the middle school from 12 to 14, and from 14 it goes to high school, and then college and university. And then we have to speak about college and university and tuition. I have my master's degree. After high school I went to a medical university, and I became a public health officer, and I have my master's in that, but I never had to pay tuition. I just have to pay for the, you know, for the living, for textbooks, for the basics, but not like a given tuition every 6 months, which is here. I do believe tuition would be around starting at $20,000, and it goes up depending on how good is the university you apply, you know, the name, or like how, or what profession would you choose. Like I think for doctors and for lawyers this tuition would be way higher. And of course I'm not talking about going to Harvard. I have no idea how much you would pay at Harvard, just a normal college, you know. That would be definitely a big difference. Okay. Oh, just jump back to the food, because I almost forgot. In the US, one great thing is the variety. Like for example, right now we are on a journey to become vegan or vegetarian, and you go to a store and you have so many options. Like you have coconut milk, you have almond milk, you have different meat substitution, you have a lot of different things. I mean, it's just going to come, so that's definitely a plus. That's definitely a huge plus on that note. And you know what, honestly, I don't want to make like a too long video. She just came, so I'm going, if you like my video and if you're interested in this topic, I would love to make a second part, and please just ask me and just leave some comments, and we will go from there. I would make a second part of, yes, a second part, and that was us for today. Hope you have a nice day, and if you like my videos, please subscribe. There is the bottom down there. It's under the background picture on the right side. So just subscribe, please, and just leave me a comment. I would love to answer. Bye, guys. This was Annie. Hope to see you soon.